Lead from Within. With me today, I have Shireen Grove and Abdul. Abdul, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience, please? And how do you say your name? Rashid.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Abdul Rashid Obin. So the Abdul Rashid is the first name, and then the Obin is the surname. So Obin basically means an intelligent person. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So would you like to actually tell the audience where you are? We don't normally introduce ourselves from the beginning, but the audience, I'm sure, will love to know where you are.
Okay. So I'm currently on a business trip in Liberia. I'm a business consultant and also a marketing manager of my company. So I'm on a business trip in Liberia, but I'm a Ghanaian, like I said, but currently on a business trip here. But you know, there's an election going here, so now things are a bit very slow in terms of business-wise, you know, where investors are trying to watch how things are going before they try to, open up things. So now, in terms of business-wise, things are a bit slow. And we are now looking at going to second round because they'll be, neck to neck. So there's a possibility of second round, I think November 7th, if I'm sure, yeah. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So our topic today is how to overcome the challenges of pursuing your purpose. So this insightful video, we will explore the various challenges individuals face when determining the pursuing of their purpose and providing valuable strategies to overcome them. And Abdul, you chose this topic. So normally when somebody chose the topic, there is something that there's a motivation behind it, or there is something that has inspired them, or you have overcome that challenge. So what made you choose this topic specific? If you like to share it with our audience.
Yeah, so basically, these are most of the things I've been dealing with myself, helping people that around me, my colleagues and my friends, you know. These are basic general life things in the pursuit of, trying to pursue our purpose in life. There are so many challenges, there are so many difficulties that come in our way. You know, sometimes it could be family, it could be your education, it could be your financial risk, it could be, societal expectation. But you know, able to, blend all this and balance them, as well as keeping focus and staying consistent and trying to pursue your purpose of life. Sometimes it's a bit challenging. Okay, no matter how strong you are as an individual, you may get to sometimes your toughest period, or your one of your toughest challenges that may come your way. But you know, sometimes we are human, and then we lose ourselves, we break down, you know, trying to catch up. We lose ourselves. But you know, sometimes people around you are able to share your difficulties or your challenges that you are going through with people that they are around you. Sometimes some of them might be able to help you out. Some might know, maybe even make things worse. So these are the reasons that I send you this topic that should help. Since you are, kind of an expert, you are an expert to me, so whereby you can help us to, put justice to this topic.
What about Shireen? What do you think, Shireen?
Well, it's wonderful, Abdul, that you brought this topic up, because it is such a powerful topic and so important for us to really connect to. I think if we want to do anything in this world, I think we have to really truly understand our purpose on some level. If we want to be successful, if we want to change people's lives, we have to have some purpose. Even if we are not completely congruent or understand what it is, there's a desire, I think, within everybody to be meaningful in their life in some way, right? even a little child, right, from the very beginning, wants to be meaningful to its parents' lives, right? So that you often find children are incredibly helpful because they are meaning-making machines. We know that when we are helpful to others, others are helpful to us. So we learn through meaning, and we learn through all of these things. I do wish actually that Carmel was here, because he does a lot of work on life purpose and stuff about life purpose. So I'm going to try and fill in a little bit for him here. But I suppose what really came up for me when I looked at your topic was I started to think a little deeply about what are the composites of purpose, and what would happen if we didn't have purpose. You know, what you mentioned, getting a little lost, not knowing quite where we go, and I can honestly say I've had those experiences in my life too. And I've, you know, it's actually really only in the last couple of years that I thought I had lots of purpose, but I actually realized there was a fundamental missing of something, because I wasn't fulfilling my uniqueness in my purpose. I was good at doing lots of things, and I was really a jack of all trades and a master of none, but I really hadn't found my space where I shone, where I was giving my gift to the world. And I think there's something about, when I talked about meaning, it's about how do we make meaning, how do we create meaning, and how do we become meaningful? And we have to do that through our gifts, the gifts that we have. And if we don't share those gifts that we have, and I think these gifts are gifts that we might have natural talent, we tend to go for the things that we're good at and we tend to excel at. But very often when we go into a career or we move into different places, we don't think about those gifts. We just fall into something, and we don't look to see where our gift can fit into that and maybe expand that a little bit. But what I really realized is I was in this place where I felt, oh my goodness, where do I go next? And I had this vision of one thing I kind of just really wanted to know. And I had this vision of me going back to when I was a midwife, training midwife. And I was seeing myself in this place where there was this line of people and they just wanted to see me. And it was really interesting. I mean, it was probably a bit of an ego trip for a young girl, but when I look back at it now, I can see what I brought in the uniqueness of that moment. And I realized that a lot of my searching was trying to get back to this kind of uniqueness that I can bring. And that's where I started to find my way that little bit much more. And I think that when we need to find our purpose, we need to really find what we love. What doesn't matter what we do. If we're working and we're a cleaner, find what you like about cleaning, right? Is it, you know, does cleaning help the world? Does cleaning help this person be, you know, not get an infection? So you attach what cleaning is. What do you like about doing cleaning? And then what are you good at? Well, you might be really good at seeing all the dirt, right? And what does the world need? Does the world need cleaners? Yes, right? So, or window cleaners, whatever cleaner. I'm just using cleaner as a thing. And then what can you be paid for? So these are the kinds of things that you might want to consider. And the sweet spot is when you have all of these together, because that's when you're almost connected to every part of you, right? Every level of you starts to be connected to this thing. When your heart loves something, when you're good at something with your hands, when you are able to see the external world and go, wow, the world needs me. I've got a mission. And then you go, well, how will the world feed me? Well, yes, I get paid. That just gives you a perfect combination to be able to feel motivated, to feel I can get up in the morning, to feel that, you know, it may be a hard day, but I'll do it. And, you know, if you think about a mum or a family or someone in relationships, if you love someone, you're prepared to do things, even if, you know, you're not enjoying it right now at that moment. You will still do it because you love. And if you're good at something, you'll do more of it. I think that these things are really quite important, because when we enjoy doing things, we get joy, right? We get happiness, we get all of those things. So for me, when you mentioned this topic, it just immediately brought that memory back. But it also brought back in the fact of what allows us to stay on track, what allows us to overcome hiccups, right? And it really is, you fulfill these criteria, then it's very likely if when something's going on and you go, well, what do I love about this task? What do I do here that's good? If you start to just say these questions to yourself, you start to go really deeply and connect literally to this essence that is you, your unique thread, your unique gift. And I will say your unique gift to God, right? The godliest that's in you. So it's really important, I think. So thank you for that. And I hope that kind of explained a little bit.
It's a good topic. It's a good topic that leaves you with too many questions if you don't know your purpose at that moment. I love the topic as well. And I love when Abdul mentioned that sometimes you can find yourself lost. And I found myself I think that was 12 years ago, I was lost. And I think, and Shireen as well, you mentioned that if we decide to use our gift and do something that we love the most, everyone, like you say, you went back to when you were midwife, you were actually searching who you are as a person, is searching your identity. And that moment you realize actually you changed lives. That's why you do for work, you change lives. And you've never actually stepped back to that path. You're still focusing on that path of changing people's lives, which is really, really amazing. And it's a topic that you have to actually defining your purpose is a bit personal. It's not something where you write a book and then you get ideas like what Shireen and Abdul were saying. That is actually, you have to go deep. And they're right. You really, really have to go deep and understand what drives you. They've explained it in different ways, but their language still comes back to one thing. What drives you, what brings you joy in life. Like we're all here, the three of us, this is what brings us joy. And Abdul is contributing to the world. Wherever he is now, there will be audience that are watching, and they'll be like, wow, let me just look for this person. And we are in United Kingdom as well. We're changing people's lives. So that's what we do. That's what our purpose is. So it's very, very important, if anyone that is watching, to just actually ask yourself some questions without distractions. Find yourself in this quiet place and dedicate your time to process what your purpose is. Or if you just want to go deep, or you can even go back to your childhood and just ask yourself some questions, and also activities, what brings you joy in life, and principles as well, and values are very, very important when you actually finding your purpose. For me, I've tried so many things. It didn't work out. I retired to football, and then I was like, I'm gonna do 9 till 5 job. It didn't work out. I just walked out because it was the world that I couldn't understand the screaming and shouting. I understand the screaming and shouting when I lose, but when people they're not happy. So then I realized actually what is my purpose. So then I had to sit down and ask myself. And these guys are here. Abdul is a coach and Shireen is a coach. If any one of our audience, you find yourself stuck, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us and just help you out to how to find that voice. Because first you have to find your voice. And then once you find your voice, then you can find your purpose and become the person that you are. We were created to be. Challenges will come along the way. That's part of it. You cannot create a joy without challenges. It's just part of it. So Abdul, if there's anyone who is stuck right now, what advice would you give them if they are really, really stuck and they really don't know how to begin? They're like, I understand the part where I need to ask myself about my values, about my principles, but I don't know what to begin to find this purpose. What advice can you give them, please?
Okay, so this is the case. If anyone finds himself or herself stuck in the pursuit of their purpose, one thing that we should consider ourselves is the internal motivation. Okay, there might be an external motivation, but the one you should, rely on is the internal motivation. But at the end of the day, you know exactly what you are looking for, what you are yearning for, what you want to achieve in life. So if you have the internal motivation, that will always keep you in focus, or will make you consistent, and then give you the meaning or the reasons why you want to achieve a particular goal. So these are the main tenets or the main pivot point that you should look at, your internal motivation. Maybe somebody will motivate you, will give you a lot of reasons, a lot of why you should stay focused in pursuing your goal. But you should know that, hey, this is for me, this is what I want, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what's my purpose, this is why I'm here. So I have to get it good, no matter the difficulty, no matter the challenges that will come my way. I have to do it, and I have to do it alone. That is when you're able to find the meaning of your purpose. You know that, hey, now there's no support coming from my family, there's no support coming from my friends, my colleagues, but I know what I want, and I'm here alone to pursue this. This is what is going to keep you going. Okay, so if you find yourself stuck, you know that, hey, I have to get this to get my self-actualization. This is what I should achieve. Regardless the difficulty, regardless the distraction that will come our way. You just find that meaning of your purpose that will just keep you going. And at the end of the day, if you're able to achieve that, you're able to stay on track and achieve that, you are going to, enjoy the purpose of your life. So the focus is on internal motivation. That is the key. That is the key.
Yeah, I'm just going to come in. Yeah, I like that. And I think it's really important, I think, about what you're meaning by internal motivation. And I like that it becomes the key one for you, right? Because in actual fact, it's us that's got to do it. At the end of the day, it is us. And I also think that sometimes it can be quite hard for people to know how to get those, how to find that and generate their own internal motivation because of whatever's going on in their life, right? So one of the things is if we always do what we've always done, we're probably always going to get what we've always got, right? So, we're in those patterns. So there are a couple of things. So when we find our internal motivation, what we're really doing is coming to that space where we're connected heart, mind, and soul, right? We're connected to those three things. We go, I know why I'm here. I feel I must be here because now I'm being driven, I'm being pulled towards my dream. It's something I want. And the heart, mind, and soul is that my whole body is just following, right? So we then repattern ourselves and we start to get more excited because we're starting to do more and more and more of those things. And then we see in the outside world, those results coming back. So we then become this feedback loop. So I think, in the sense of that internal motivation, I think of an internal combustion, we've got to be able to put things into it in order for it to work. So what are the things that we can do? Like we need to watch our mindset, right? We have to look at the way we're thinking about things. We have to look at the stories, the narratives that we tell ourselves. Something that was really interesting, I was listening to the other day, but it really, what it was, you know, if you think that you have to be, be good enough, or you are good enough, or you're in that sort of space where you have to justify being perfect, it means underneath you're running a belief that you're not, right? And then it's about finding out, how do we change that belief? How do we shift that belief so that we don't have an external barrier or an inner prison that's keeping us where we are? So we really need to find those stories, those untruths, and start to systematically deal with them. Otherwise, because they're weights that, or they are like water on a fire, they stop the fire from burning, right? And when we're motivated, when I say it's like an internal combustion, it's like the fire is going, right? If we have a fire that's going and doing its thing, then we don't really need a lot. We already are burning almost in our essence, so that we're able to just be light and generate in a very different way. So I think it's really key that we do that. But two, we've also got to look after our physical body, right? We have to make sure that we're sleeping well, that we're communicating with other people well. We've got friends, we're connecting, because as humans we must belong, because belonging keeps us safe. So when most people that find it difficult to internal generate, it's because they're feeling they have to do it all. But the problem is their internal world is saying, well, nobody wants to help me. I can only do this by myself, right? It's too scary, or people will let me down. So there are all these little beliefs that stop us from going and asking for help, right? So I think it's quite important to kind of look at, I agree 100% about the internal generation, because ultimately, Abdullah, that is what we have. But what's the step before that's stopping internal generation happening, right? Internal motivation happening, so that we can move forward, that it actually runs on its own, right? So that we really sit. And I think for me, one of the things which I found, because I work with a lot of postnatal women, and often they lose themselves. You talked about being motivated and lost. They often lose themselves, who they are. And one of the things that I always do is I find out what they did before. What were they good at before? And I really sit and appreciate that. Because by letting them see that this is just a moment, but they are this magnificent person that's had a child now. So it's added to her, right? So she's this and she's this. And guess what? She can be something else as well as she moves through this process. And it's so interesting. So many people forget who they were before. And so a really good reminder is remembering. And I think what Nomsa said earlier on, which was we go back to where we were as a child, where we found something that was our gold dust or our jewel, and look for those things and see whether we can really sit and appreciate those and say, okay, can I use that? Can that be here so that it can help me shine, help me find my genius, find what I'm so unique at? And I think that's really important. I think the moment you start to find your genius, you start to get excited, right? You may not know yet how to do things, but it's like something that burns inside you, and it will orientate you to start looking, even if you're not ready yet. It will start to do that. And once you get that candle, you'll get a candle wick effect. The moment things start to pan out and you start going, oh, I must do more of this, right? And you start to get happier and more joyful. So yeah, I think that you're right. The single most thing is our internal motivation. And I think then it's right, okay, so how do I get it going? How do I get this going? What do I need to look at in order to shift and change that? So one of the things I wanted to mention, what it reminded me of when I talked about, what does the world need? We can turn what is even negative into a positive. I don't know, Nomsa, do you remember a program called Don't Get Done, get Dom. Do you remember that? He jumped at me when I talked about it. Dom was a criminal. He was a thief. And you know what he did? He then changed. I think he obviously had an epiphany, and he changed. And what he said was, okay, I'm bloody good at stealing. So how do I prevent people from getting robbed? Look at that. What a beautiful reframe. How do I do this? And you know what? That's what he does. And he helped people on TV. He helped people in normal life. He did amazing work. And so it really is recognizing that even if there's something that you've done that isn't quite as good as it should be, you can actually look to find the beauty in there. And how can I turn it around to make this useful to the world? Right? How can I turn it around to make people's lives better? And I think that's what we're kind of also talking about. I don't know why that just jumped up for me today, but when it did, I thought, I got to get it in. Because he just really switched something around. Instead of thinking, oh my God, this is the end of the world for me, he thought, well, look at what I can do. And how do I change this? So I think for anyone who's really stuck, have a look at the things that you can do or what you're good at, and then see how the world can utilize the skill. So then this was just an alternative way of looking at it, but I thought it was a perfect example of it doesn't always have to be something that we just do in straight run of the mill, but we could be doing something so completely different and change people's lives.
I love that. I love what Abdul said, and I love what Shirini, you just said as well. I think what Abdul said is actually the critical component of being able to actually find your purpose and be able to do the things that you want to do in life. Like for me, it is exactly what I did. It was like find the motivation, what motivates me eternal, and then and being able to use that so I can find my talent. And I find that if I go to the office and then I work, I'm not really enjoying it. I'm creative. I'm an artist. So I think like an artist. I think like an athletics. So what motivates me? And I remember going on a date with this guy and getting excited, going back to the second date when he was like, Noms, I want to meet you for the second time. Here's me getting excited, thinking, oh, we're going on a second date. And the guy turns up, he goes, I have something for you. I ain't going to go on a date with you. I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you go on a date with me? Because Noms, you showed me I need to work on my mindset. My mindset is not there yet. But I have a business for you. And then I'm finding my purpose now. And I'm looking at it because I've done all the research for you. You've got everything, so you don't need to do anything. So I was like, when did you actually do this research? He goes, when I left. So he had actually printed everything about matchmaking. So he goes, I think you'll be good at doing this. Have you heard of matchmaking? I was like, yeah. He was like, that's your job. So now you need to look into matchmaking. And he actually helped me to become a matchmaker. And that's when I actually realized, when I listen to everybody, when somebody comes with a relationship, I just listen, I give advice. And sometimes when somebody comes in and they've got problems, I'm like, okay, what do I do? Or sometimes I have to think, does this person really need my advice, or they want me to listen to them? So I just listen. I didn't have a psychology degree then, but I was like, okay, I can do this. That's my purpose. My purpose is what I'm meant to do. But I had to go back my childhood, and then I started looking at the things that I love to do. Like Shirini was saying, there are some things that I had, better habit that I had created. I thought that was my passion, but it wasn't. It was something that I started doing it because I wanted to fit in, becoming a follower. And sometimes when we meet people, we want people to like us so much. We want to fit in, and our behavior, we start loving things that really not us, not our identity. So I started identifying the things that I was doing, like the activities that I was doing that I didn't even like. And I was like, why do I do this? I don't even like it. And I started getting rid of all those things, because we live in this world where we have to fit in. We feel like we have to, but we don't have to fit in. Finding your purpose, it means sometimes you're going to hurt other people, or sometimes you're going to leave people behind, because some people might say, but that's not you. But you know yourself from a very young age, who you were then and who you want to become. And sometimes we do things that we don't want. For me, that was like a self-discovery, and being able to find my purpose and being able to leave some people behind. And like what Abdul, you were saying, that look into your external, internal, and then motivation. And then I was like, I'm a Christian. And I was like, what am I doing? I look at my pictures. I'm like, my boobies are out. When I'm posting on social media, what is my purpose exactly when I'm on earth? Honestly, there's a dress that I'm wearing, Shireen, it's like gold. I think that dress cost about £500. I had to ban it. And I had to get rid of it. And I was like, that is not me. Honestly, I started recreating in order for me to find my purpose. Really be honest, I started recreating my character back to where I was a child. Being honest, who am I as a person? And some people didn't like my decisions, but some people did. Those who liked my decision is the people that really loved me unconditional, who did not want me to fit in with them, who wanted me to be the person that God created me to become. But some people, they were like, we don't understand, that is not you. But I wasn't changing anything. All I was doing is I was just being honest with myself. So if anyone is watching, finding your purpose, like what Shireen has mentioned, mindset is very, very important. What Abdul said is very, very important. You have to be honest within yourself. And you have to, when you are being honest, you have to actually make decisions. When you're making a list of things you are passionate about, and the hobbies and the interest, you're identifying your strength, you're identifying your weaknesses as well. So your weaknesses, they're not wrong. So when you identify your weaknesses is where you start working on yourself. When you're identifying your strength, you like putting things in small chunks and then working on yourself. The beauty of it is it brings challenges in life, because like I said, people will not agree with you. And also it helps you to understand who wants you to succeed, who doesn't. True friends and true people that are in that path. It makes you realize, and fake people that you think they like you, but they actually don't. Like myself, I've made so many changes. I lived in a big mansion, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to make some changes. I went to a 2-bedroom apartment, and my friend, they come and they got confused. And they were like, what is going on? I was like, I'm making some changes in my life. So they were like, why? I was like, okay, I've just split up with my ex. There's no point in me living in a big mansion with my daughter. Spending, if somebody comes and clean the house, if I don't have a cleaner coming and clean the house, I spend 4 hours cleaning the house. Oh no, thank you. So I was like, I'm happy here. And they couldn't understand. Honestly, my friends got confused. I was like, why are you getting confused about? And they were like, why would you move to a normal? I was like, what is normal in life? And I said to them, listen, I'm here with my daughter. Is just the two of us. To me, that is the normal life. I'm living a normal life. Got my daughter into a good school. As like, my daughter, she's in a good school. So why do I need all these big things? I was like, I'm happy to live in a big house, but at this moment, I'm confused, I'm lost. So my life, it goes in the same cycle when I date or when I date somebody, it just goes all over and then everything falls apart. I just wanted to find my purpose. When I find my purpose, I never looked back. The day I met Martin, he looked at me a few months later. He was like, Nomsa, you're not fake, are you? And I was like, what is fake? What is real? And it was like, some girls, they actually make you meet somebody that is not real. But with you, you are just out there. I was no longer pretending. Finding my purpose, it means I'm just going to be me. It means when I go out, if I see music plays that I like, I just dance in it. I don't really care who is watching. I don't really care. Or if somebody needs help, I just drop everything that I'm doing because my purpose is to add value in this world. So I just did that. Since then, my attitude has changed. And people were like, we don't understand you. I was like, you will never, ever understand. But there was one person that understood me, was my parents. My parents, they were like, this is the Nomsa we always knew. That one, no. The other one, we didn't know, but this one is the one that we always knew. That was, and even myself, when I was discovering my self-discovery, there was this thing where, why have you rejected me so many years? Like the inside, that Nomsa was always there within me. It wasn't there. So it's a rewarding thing when you actually rediscover and motivate yourself and just finding yourself and living that life with doing things that you love to do, and unapologetic and living your life how you are meant to do is amazing. Really, really amazing. Anyone that is watching, guys, when these coaches speak, use that opportunity to get in touch with them and get to know them. Like when I was talking about it yesterday, when we started Nkosi talk shows, and I was looking for coaches for Nkosi talk shows, and some coaches were like, I don't think I can go Nkosi talk shows, it's not good enough for me. But on Sunday, when I was on YouTube and I was like looking at everything, and I was like, this is where we are now. It made me realize, and just talking to other YouTubers, and I was like, what's the tip? Give me a tip. Those people, they've got like million followers, and they were like, you want the tip to actually keep going when you're broadcasting everyday life is, you see the struggle as your purpose. Your struggle, it takes you to success. And the guy goes 5 years of struggle, Nomsa, and 3 years of take a full time, being a YouTuber full time. And the other can tell you, and he goes, and the other thing, the money's good, girl. but when you are in the room with these people, they don't have security. They don't have anything. It's just them. Like it's just living a normal life. So if anyone is watching and you want to find your purpose and you find yourself struggling along the way, struggles are part of life. Struggles are part of the day you make a decision where I'm going to find my purpose, that's when the enemy would attack. So you have to understand that struggle comes with success. And everything, like Abdul, I'm sure you know the process that took you to be where you are today. And Shirini, you know the process that took you to find your purpose and be true to yourself. It's not an easy thing, but being true to yourself and finding that purpose and sticking to that purpose, what God created you to be, because God creates us as an individual. He doesn't do copycat. He creates us to be who we are supposed to become. So once you understand that you are individual, you are unique, You were born to succeed. You were born to add value on earth. You won't look back. So that's all. Do you want to add anything what I just said, Abdul?
So what I will also say is that whatever we are doing.
And don't worry, if you're a Christian, you can include God. We're Christian here, so we let people be.
Whatever you're doing, you have to also, put God first, okay? Because individually we have our plans, but God also has a plan for us. So what you are ever doing, what you are pursuing, what you are looking for, sometimes you also have to have the patience. You have to be patient enough, because so far as you know your purpose, you will always be on track. Things that you'll be looking for, things you want to pursue, sometimes it might not go your way, but the purpose, the focus is that I want to get this, but they just have to re-strategize and then find a different path, because God is saying that, hey, this path you are using is not going to get you anywhere. You have to change. Sometimes you, as a human being, you say, no, I'm so prepared for this. This is where I want to channel my effort in getting what I want. But as you are going, you will see that no, the road has changed. The road is blurred. You can't see. What you have to do is that you have to, come back to yourself and then re-strategize and see that no, these things I will have to change my routes. But the focus is still the same. The goal is still the same. Nothing will change. But you have to be patient enough and then re-strategize yourself and keep going. Because when the going get tough, there's one thing you are looking for. It's the purpose. And so far as you're able to find out the purpose, what you are looking for, there will always be challenges, like you said. The challenges are going to come in numbers. Once you are done with one, the other will also come. So what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? If you give up, you are not going to achieve your purpose. So what you have to do is that you have to be patient. Any difficulty or any negative thing that comes our way in pursuing our goals, there are some tiny positive aspects of it. But some human beings, we are so emotional, we are so weak that we always focus on efforts on the negative that has hit us in our life. With any negative, there's positive. And this is where you need God, because you need God to be able to help you find out the negative aspect of it. And that will need a big patience to do that. Because you know there are some people in your life that they are helping you. These same people may sometimes become toxic. But you have to remember that no matter what, you cannot do everything on your own. You might need somebody's push, somebody's effort to get where you want to get to. Develop yourself, you invest yourself. Without investing in yourself, developing your skills, your purpose is not going to be fulfilled. You want to be a teacher, you want to be a nurse. What you have to do is that after you figure out that this is what I want to be, you have to invest in yourself, your personal development. Be an expert in your field. Get the skills that you want to be able to help you fulfill your career as a nurse. That's what's also going to keep you going and going to get you motivated. So whatever we are doing, we have to also be patient enough and know that sometimes things might not go the way we expect it, but the goal or the purpose remain the same. You have to find other routes or other channels to get where you have to get to. And sometimes you have to do some little things. You shouldn't take anything like, oh, I'm too big for this, I'm too big for that. Sometimes those little things will also put or bring an effort in whatever you want to pursue. You have to take it and then do. And most of the time, there are certain things we call like transitional jobs, be able to get to where you want to, where you have to do some things that you are not comfortable with, but you have to start from somewhere to get to somewhere that you want to get to. So these are things that you also have to take into consideration. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love what both of you are saying. Nomsa, I think what really resonated so much for me there was that idea of how do we be honest. And what you did was something and the beautiful example, I had this very expensive dress, but was not aligned with who I was wanting to become. I had this expensive dress and really paying attention, what am I dressing for? Who am I dressing for? Is that attraction or whatever? And I think these are really interesting and empowering questions to ask oneself. particularly when we are trying to align to something like our purpose, to align to who we want to be and what's the image or persona or the truth that we want to live. I think that's really important. And the idea that, you know, when we have the struggle, it's so important to recognize that we need to know, is this struggle coming from this ego sense, or is this struggle because this is not the right path, right? So maybe sometimes we're fighting, and I definitely think, certainly in this world, there is a lot of struggle because of money. And of course, we've got to survive and we've got to live abundantly, right? And we all get told that. But our way of abundance may be the way we're living it incorrectly. So we may not necessarily see that we need to be with others to be abundant, right? So we may not be looking at the right places to accumulate the abundance that will then lead on to something else. So it's really important, I think, to one, pay attention. I need to be brutally honest here about who I am, what I can do, what I want to do, and to be sure that it's aligned with things. So if in this case, okay, I'm a Christian, I accept and say that I'm a Christian. So if I'm a Christian, what are the rules and things that I'm going to follow with that? You know, am I going to be kind to people? Will I be kind? Will I be gentle? Will I follow the teachings of Christ, right? And Christ didn't judge anyone, right? Christ accepted everybody. So, and Christ showed that the path was through our heart, to show that that's where we get the maximum coherence. So when we are working with that kind of gentleness and that kind of love and that kind of way of being, we create those ripples through the universe in a very, very different way. And that then allows us to not be in any kind of stress. It actually, when we know this is who I am, there's no conflict, right? Even though it might be conflicted for other people, there's no conflict inside you, which means actually you're going to benefit. You age slower than those that are full of conflict and full of all those toxic stuff that they have carry around in their body. So it's really useful. And I think so the be honest is a way of bringing your heart back into that coherence. And it also means that your mind is able to decipher in a different way. It's able to make decisions, which you did, as you said. I make decisions that are more aligned with that, and I'm confident in that. And so I think that's a really important, such an important thing to put in here. So important. So there was something else which I'm sorry, Abdullah, I was trying to remember what I had written down for you, but I can't remember exactly. But I certainly know that while you were talking, I was feeling a real warmth and a real sense of what was true for you. And it made it, so from a sense of that, it really did seem to resonate. And I enjoyed just listening to that and recognizing how many people really, really do pay attention and live that kind of truth that you are choosing to live now. And I think that is part of recognizing when we look at our purpose, it is about how true are we living to ourselves. So if we imagine ourselves, I like to just imagine if we are here and we're a pure essence, when we're a child, we are pure essence. We live purely out of that sense of soul, right? Our sense of being. And then we lose that. As we get older, we put on layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And we think we've got, when we become an adolescent, we think we've got to fit in, because actually on one level that keeps us safe. So we have to fit in, or we have to do this, or we have to do that. And we slowly cover ourselves up with the expectations of the world. And then we start, when we're lucky, if we're lucky, we feel the pain, we feel the call of our heart. And the call of our heart is the call that tells us, hey, you have a purpose, you have a meaning, you have something. So you feel unhappy, right? Nothing's working. That's the call of your soul. That's the call of your soul saying, hey, you've got to come back to me. You've got to come back to me, because you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy until you are true to you. So I think that that's the real key of finding your purpose, finding that truth of who you are, who you were in essence as a being, you know, that wonderful child that you were, which, you know, those beautiful creative things that you did as a child, that's your essence. Is that still there for you as an adult? How do you bring more of that into your adulthood so that you can enjoy life? Because children just love to do things. That's your internal motivation, right? Your internal thing is that internal child that now wants to play, now wants to just create, now wants to just do things, and wants to help and wants to change others' lives. Yeah. So that's really what I think, anyway, what I'm really getting from today is that, you know, be truthful to oneself and to choose to align with something that will let you then be able to follow through.
I love that. I love that, Shireen, being true to yourself and also being true to other people as well. I was talking to one of the parents, and I've moved my daughter's school, but this woman in the school where she went, my daughter was bullied first, my youngest one, and then the next time this teacher took over, and she dedicated her time to help my daughter. And by the end of July, end of the year, she gave a bad report. And I was like, what the heck is that report? And I'm telling her that this is not a report for my daughter. And she goes, no, that's the report stands. I ring the head teacher, I ring her, change it. Because I know, you know, you can feel it inside, you can feel. So I was like, okay. Then I go to the school, I said to the head teacher, you're going to change the report. He goes, no, it stands. So I was like, I'm going to look at your face right now and I'm going to testify that your teacher helped my daughter 100%. She dedicated her life, her time to help my daughter. The report that she gave to my daughter is not real, it's not for her. And I changed my daughter. That moment, I changed the school straight away. In September, she went to a new school. And guess what? I was 1,000% right. Now she's moved to a new school, and the new school goes, your daughter, she's amazing. She's so amazing. I was like, see, it's not actually the new school, it's the school where she left. That's the woman who did the work. If you give Kayla 100 questions in maths, she will ask the questions in less than 5 minutes. And that's how a genius she is. So the school, she goes like for maths, like a private tutoring. And the woman every Wednesday, they give is Kumo. There is Kumo, I think they are all over the world. Mm-hmm. So it was first created by the Chinese guy. So they give her exams like every Wednesday, they'll give her 100 questions. She goes like 5 minutes, take your paper, she's done. And this woman goes, no, so what have you done with Kayla? Like, I've not done anything. Kayla, she's always been like this. It's just the teachers I was trying. But at the end of the day, that woman, she did the work. It's her purpose. She was really good. I recognized the first time, the first few months when she took over, I started teaching her. I realized that she got it all under control and she improved everything. When I do the homework with her, I'll be like, now we're getting somewhere. So I said to her, you helped my daughter and you're giving her the bad report. That's not her report. But now the new school now is getting the credit. She's left the old school. So, but I keep testifying that no, it was the other woman that did the work, because I know that, you know, when you see somebody have purpose, when you go for parents' evening, you can see that this person she's gifted. She's a teacher that is gifted. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep testifying that she's a good person, and she didn't do it. Her report, I'm not sure why she wrote the report. And I turned out to be right. And the teachers, she was learning French there. She's not learning French in the new school. And they're saying she's good in French. And I was like, I don't speak French. That's when I realized it's actually the older school where she's been. And now her personality has come out. The real her has come out. So you just have to know your purpose as well. And also what I do myself as a Christian, what I do, even when things get tough, I never forget the people that are working with me in my path. Even if they wrong me, I never forget them. I always say, I'm just sticking to the good stuff. And I find that it works for me. It just works. It brings more miracles. The more you actually, like what Abdul was saying, develop yourself and be patient as well, is very, very, very important to actually being able to understand your character, your identity, your purpose, and everything, your principles. Your principles are the one that help us when people enters our world, is where people have to understand that if you want to walk with me, these are my principles. Like God himself, he has 10 commandments. So he doesn't beg anyone or force anyone. He just says, if you want to enter my kingdom, these are my principles that you have to live by. So as a human being, you have to have your principles. I'm not saying be hard on people, but you have to have boundaries of creating, find your purpose, have boundaries, have principles where people can actually not enter your life and take advantage of your life as well. So just enter your life so that they know, okay, this is the path the NOMSA is going, and this is how NOMSA live by. So that those are important values that you need to create when you are creating your finding your purpose and creating principles, knowing your values, and also let other people that have their own values enter your life as well, so you can walk with them without judging anybody. And I find that it works. I find when people, like, sometimes I'm really, really crafty. When I meet people, I don't tell them I'm a businesswoman or I run my own business. I just go quiet and talk and let people judge me. And then when I start talking, they're like, oh, I didn't know you can do this. I'm like, but you judged me from the beginning. How would I have to introduce myself? So it's actually very, very important to actually understand your purpose. When you find your purpose, like what Abdullah was saying, develop your skills and be patient is very, very important. And Shireen, you actually ended up like mentioning my dressing, when I realized actually it was a self-discovery myself, because I thought, like, you're finding your purpose is the umbrella of identity of a person, who you are as a person. For me, I thought, wow, as NOMSA, when I'm going out meeting guys, I just have to show them my boobies. Who can reject this? Nobody. Who can actually reject this? Nobody. And then I go out and I'm attracting the wrong guys. But then when I actually decided to respect myself and say, you know what? I'm just going to live by my rules, by my identity, by my principles. And I find that when I go out, actually people still want to talk to me, and they still want to get to know the real me. They still want to help me and support me. So now I look back, I'm like, what was that character about? Why did I create that character? But then it comes down to one thing, the society. We look at celebrities. Celebrities, they have finding their purpose. They have people that they hire people. They have everybody around them. They take time as well. They sit down. They take time why they create what they are creating. But the followers now, they come in. They see their character and they copy their character. without thinking, and then you become that character. So it's very, very important to sit down and create your character, your identity, and find that purpose, unapologetic, add value to the world. And sometimes you might have people that will follow you, sometimes you might not. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. When I went on YouTube on Sunday, there were 1,000 creators in the room. And everybody else, they made it clear that you have to go and connect with people that you think they will add value, because you can't connect with everybody. Connect with people that add value to your channel, to what you do. And that made me realize, actually, not everybody, but everybody wanted to know everybody anyway. So not everybody, like, you're going to have like your followers that people going to like what you do. But what is important is loving what you do. Like Shireen from the beginning said, love what you do. And Abdul as well said, you have to love the things that you do, and the challenges will come your way. But if you do something that you love, only God can actually help you to succeed. And also, Abdul, you mentioned that you cannot do, even if you are talented, you cannot do things on your own. Connect with people is very, very important. That's why I said I love your attitude that you were texting me, can I come to your show? Yes, you can come. And you were like, when? And I was like, give me a topic. And then you said, if I give you a topic, will I be able to come tomorrow? I was like, yes, sure. And your determination. And then you were like, okay, see you then tomorrow. So it means you know you are available and you know what you want. You don't waste time. So you just go for what you want. And that's what life is about. So I was like, sure, I love this guy. Over to you. It's 7 minutes past. Do you have any words of encouragement, Abdul, before we go? And also tell the audience where they can find you as well.
Okay, so one last thing I would like to add is one most difficult thing also is trying to pursue our purpose and then balancing it with our life responsibilities. You know, it's also most challenging. Or sometimes you have a family, like you Nomsa mentioned, you have a kid, and you have to make sure you send your kid to school, make sure your kid is okay. You have to take care of your father, your mother, your siblings, and all that. So you were able to make sure you balance these things together, because you cannot only focus on your purpose alone. There are things you have to also to balance, and sometimes become challenges balancing these things together. So you have to make sure you stay in between and then balance these things together, and then in a way be able to forge ahead. So the name is Abdul Rashid Obin. As I mentioned, you can find me on Twitter, Abdul Rashid Obin, on Facebook, Abdul Rashid Obin, LinkedIn, Abdul Rashid Obin. I'm always available to network all over the world.
Thank you so much, Shireen.
Yes, so thank you for you two for such a wonderful conversation and for me being here and enlightening, because it has been really wonderful in the sense of how do we help others, but also we get helped at the same time, don't we? We also get to find more about ourselves, or we get to self-reflect and then maybe take another step a little bit further along the way. So yes, I really love that the idea of the intrinsic motivator, which is what intrinsic motivation, which or eternal motivation that we have, and being aware of how to get that, to how to go back down to that nugget that gives us that bit that allows us to keep our inner fire going, so that we can connect to that purpose and let us, achieve what it is that we want to achieve. So yeah, I certainly know that, what gets me up in the morning is being able to think about how I'm going to change someone, or in my case, how am I going to change a baby's life? So what I do is help women that are pregnant So I help women that are pregnant or postnatal women, mainly to help them so that they are able to be the best mothers that they can be for their child. So that means that I have to know what it is, what excites me about my job, so that I can excite a mother to be able to do this for herself. So you can reach me on I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on all the social medias, and just connect with me if you know of anybody that's pregnant or wanting to get pregnant or has had a traumatic pregnancy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shireen and Abdul. For me, is when you are finding your purpose, the normal challenges that you face along the way is dealing with the self-doubt and insecurity. That is normal. So if you find yourself going through that, normal fear of failure is normal. Failure is a skill anyway. A lack of clarity. So if you find yourself going through that, or maybe struggling with time management, burnout, overcoming setbacks, all those problems come along the way. But the one thing that destroys people is the comparison. Never compare your life with anybody. Whatever you do in life, that is my actually, that's what I want anybody that is watching to take home. Comparison is a thief of joy. So when you're finding your purpose, just find your true identity and become who God created you to become. And if you want to follow Nkosi Talk Shows, or you want to follow Abdul, you can find him, like he said, on all social media is there, and LinkedIn as well. And if you want to connect or you need coaching, please go to the website and just contact me. My office number is there, or you can just fill out the inquiry form and just get in touch, and we'll take it from there. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless. See you tomorrow.